Good morning, everyone. My name is John Diaz, independent presidential candidate for the 2024 general election. Thank you for joining me today. This is now video number 25, and today I'm talking about immigration. So immigration's a topic that arises year after year. And it's a topic that's spanned, throughout time. As a matter of fact, people here in America have come from somewhere. But the question is, what do we do now about the topic? Do we just let things keep going as they are? Or do we do something about it? So, lately, there's been one candidate that says we should deport everybody and basically deport everybody that's illegal. And then the president is trying to do more enforcement. But a lot of people seem unhappy about that. I believe, as you all know from the previous videos, that we need people here in America to work, because the people that are here just as is right now at the moment, there's not enough people that fulfill all the jobs available. They say that there's many, many millions of jobs that can't be filled. So let's talk for a little bit about that scenario. If we can't have enough people to fill the current jobs that are available, in my opinion, that's destructive to the economy. It's destructive to businesses that can't find the right personnel, because ultimately that affects their bottom line and in many instances can even put companies out of business. By the way, this morning I'm in Dania Beach, Florida. So I'm just here talking with you guys from there as I'm visiting this town. But on the other hand, we need people, we need labor. As a matter of fact, I read an article this morning that the governor of this state of Florida is starting to deport illegals that are migrant workers. He's doing his job, but then on the other hand, if they get rid of those people, there's going to be even more vacant jobs, because I don't think a lot of people are going to work for a low wage doing heavy labor. So then what that means is that the companies that were employing them, which are probably farms that are producing food, just as one example, they may go out of business or go bankrupt, one or the other. So it's destructive to the businesses, and it's also destructive to the public, because if it's difficult to grow food without those people, then the prices will rise, companies will go bankrupt. So it's a difficult topic. What I'm thinking about that's the right way to do this would be to actually have a border wall along the southern border. Obviously expand the border patrol, and this would be to put a stop to the drug trade, because that's also destructive to the American people. The drugs coming in, destroying lives, killing people, causing addiction and all kinds of issues. And then there's the long-term health effects of all that. So that's a big problem. And another problem we got to look at, which I've also talked in the previous videos, is all the countries in Central America and South America and Caribbean islands and even Asia. We got to ask ourselves, why are all these people coming here? Well, if the economy gets bad here in the U.S., we can only imagine elsewhere. So I've said this in the previous videos, it's important to have the capitalist partners working side by side with us. It's important for those countries to also have successes so their people can earn a living, a decent wage, just like we want our people to do the same. It kind of makes me it makes me think about the 1980 elections between President Reagan and President H.W. Bush, when they were in their presidential debate, and they were talking about immigration, and H.W. Bush said that the problem was much deeper because it had to do with employment, and people were just coming here to try to survive. And President Reagan was suggesting that we have a permit program where we allow people to come here and get a working permit to be legal in this country and to pay their taxes and be law-abiding working people. And to me, that makes a lot of sense, what Ronald Reagan said. And also what George Bush said at the time, I think was also correct. So I think that those topics they were talking about, I think that it's important to implement. I think we need people in order to have all the visions that I've been outlaying. In order to do all the work we got to do, we need people. And in order to do that, I think putting a fence along the southern border is important to stop the drug trade. I think it's important to have border patrol enforcing that. But I also think that once that's completed, I also think that it's important to complete the Pan American Highway that was started long ago, that starts from Alaska and goes all the way down the line through the end of South America. I think that it's a touchy subject between the United States and Panama, but with my natural ability to speak Spanish, I can communicate and work to see if we could get that done, because the first mission is to secure the border. The second mission is to communicate to the people of all those countries that we're a law-abiding country and that people who come here have to come here legally, in the sense that we need to know who's coming here, who they are, where they're from, so we know that every individual that's here is counted for and we know who they are. So that's important. But I also think we need the working people. We need a lot of labor for all the visions we have for the future. We have to understand that we have a whole lot of debt right now that we gotta pay. We're talking about, well over $30 trillion. That's a lot of money. So it's going to take a lot of visions to. In other words, if you've been looking at all the videos I've been making, which this one's number 25, I've been talking about a lot of job creations, a lot of job innovations that don't exist at the moment. And if we don't have enough labor as is, and they say that, there's an estimate between 10 to 20 million illegal people in this country, and there's still a vacancy of workers that can't be filled, and we know we have a problem here. So we can say, all right, we're going to be law-abiding and get all these illegals out of here, but then on the other hand, the American companies who have the businesses and rely on that labor are going to have serious problems. So it's an issue across the board, and it's an issue that's tampering with the livelihoods of business owners, and also the livelihood of the migrants who come to work so they can survive as well. But then there's the other subject of communism and the effects of that. We're talking here about countries like Russia and China and other allies of theirs that are sweeping up countries around the world and becoming their allies. And trust me, if we don't make the right moves right now and join all our old partners and stick with them instead of abandoning them, well, I think we're better off, because it's better having them by our side than becoming enemies of ours. I mean, if we look at Mexico, that's such a large country, when it comes to the problem of Ukraine and the war with Russia, they're one of the countries that didn't want to impose sanctions on Russia. So that's a bit troubling, I think. Now they say they want to be neutral, so that's their decision. But we're supposed to be partners here, so it's complex. It's a complex situation all around, but in order to get where we want to go, we've got to be strong. We've got to face and tackle all the issues with all our might. And all these ideas of all the videos I've made requires a lot of labor. It's going to require a big effort and a big expense. So in my opinion, I think that putting up a wall, securing the border, and you know what? I think I'll call it a fence. We can put up a strong fence along the border, have a lot of additional border patrol. If the National Guard's needed, we'll do that as well, as I've mentioned before. And if it requires putting the National Guard around the United States to secure all cities, to make sure that the people are safe, that the violence subsides, and if we can implement the bonus program I've been talking about to further subside all violence and problems, then I think we're headed in a better direction. But that can only work in conjunction with having a permit program like President Ronald Reagan was suggesting in 1980. I think that's a real good thing, what he said. So I think that those things work together. We need the border protection, but we also need a permit program that would allow all the workers that come to America to work legally, so they can come when they want and leave when they want. And I think, as I was saying before, another part of this equation would be that once that border wall's secured and the whole southern border secure, it would be a great idea to complete the Pan American Highway through the Darien Gap, which is a part of the roadway that was never completed. So this would tie the roadway system from the United States so people could travel to South America. Right now you can go pretty much to the end of Panama, but then you have the Darien Gap that doesn't allow you to continue. So I think that this project would be a good idea to further expand American manufacturing. It would be good for all the American truck manufacturers like Peterbilt, Kenworth, and our good Swedish friends from King Gustav of Sweden that build the Volvos here in America, and the ownership of the Mack trucks. So it would be great to further expand manufacturing. It would be good for the American automakers, because then we would have the ability to further have expand trucking into Central South America. Now there would be conflict with Panama because they're going to obviously be concerned with the Panama Canal, and they're going to probably have the argument that there would be a reduction in shipping. Well, if we have a robust, explosive economy, just like I've mentioned all along in every video, it'll balance itself out. But I think we can get a good foothold in a lot of these countries to sell American products. We could even export food with the interior greenhouse idea that I was mentioning to you guys earlier in previous videos. The idea is that the United States has to become a leader in everything we do. And remember what I said regarding the relationships we have with countries that are hostile with the United States. Well, that depends on their behavior and what and how they interact with us, and if they truly want to be an honest partner with us, or if they have other intentions, and that'll depend on the degree of economic relationships that we'll have with them. So I don't want to discourage China or Russia, but Russia's making a lot of bad moves right now with this whole Ukraine invasion, in my opinion. They're isolating themselves. They're becoming known to the world as for what they're doing, and they're really hurting their own people. When you look at how many people have died in that war. Because another idea I have is to, as a matter of fact, they suggested building a super highway through Russia to connect to Europe. And I think that's a great idea, but it's never gonna happen with this type of environment that we have at the moment, with all this warfare going on. So I hope that this video makes it to the Russian government so they can listen to this. And I hope they can listen to all the previous videos. Maybe they can implement a lot of the stuff I'm saying within their own country to employ their own people. Interior farming is an incredible way to grow food, because it allows you to grow food throughout the year. And in Russia, we know that the climate's extremely cold and hostile, so that would definitely be a big boost for their employment of people over there. And if we had better relations, because my understanding is Putin, the president of Russia, he wanted to talk with the United States for quite a long time. He kept mentioning, America's not taking me serious and all I want to do is talk with them. But instead, he made his own moves in response to that. So I would want to work with him, or whoever the leadership might be. And I think that, it would be good to have a solid relationship with Russia instead of having warfare that doesn't really benefit anybody in the long run. I also want to point out one topic really quick. And that topic is the Great Depression that happened in the past history. Just like the Spanish pandemic happened precisely 100 years later, happened the COVID pandemic. And right now we're going to have the Great Depression time frame coming up. And I'll tell you what, if everything keeps going in the direction that it's headed into, well, it's obvious that it's going to align with the past history. So it's up to everybody. Do they want that? Is that really what they want? Do we want to throw away all the progress we've made since then and make people suffer again all around the world? Or do we want to be courageous and stand up to all the problems and face them head on by having solid solutions? So I encourage everybody to watch these videos. I encourage everybody to see what I'm trying to say here. And like I said, I'm just getting started. There's so many more topics to talk about. And one other topic I should mention at the moment is that as of right now, I don't have a vice president. And as a matter of fact, I'm not sure if that will happen for me, because As I've mentioned before, I'm not, you know, I'm actually trying to fix government. I'm trying to expand it to pay off debt, and I'm hoping that by the end of my first term that I would pay off all the debt and have a large surplus is what I'm hoping to accomplish, one of my missions. And aside from that, implement a whole lot of changes in the first 4 years, changes that I've mentioned in all the videos. I think immigration's also important. And by the way, if I didn't have a vice president, we'll just save the money of that salary, which, you know, we gotta save wherever we can, but we also have to act boldly. And that's going to require me to work a whole lot, but that's okay. I'm ready for the challenge. That's nothing new to me, honestly. The people who know me know that I work a lot anyway, so immigration's an important topic. But I also think, I guess in conclusion to what I was talking about, the superhighway through Russia, I think that in a sense Vladimir Putin wanted to talk with the United States, but that wasn't a possibility, so he felt angered. But in reality, whether he was angry or not, you know, you can't take those kinds of actions. It seems like he also has his ideologies. It seems like he's upset from what took place regarding the ending of the Soviet Union. But I hope that they hear these videos, because, or specifically, I hope they hear this video, because that superhighway was a great idea. I think it is a great idea. And the United States citizens should have every avenue if they want to fly to places, if they want to take a cruise to places, if they want to take a road trip to places. It gives people options, but it's also, I think, another way to expand American businesses. And if we did a joint effort in that sense, it would be beneficial to Russia as well, because there would be a lot of tourism, a lot of money, you know, going through the borders of many, many countries. It would be good for the world. So I know that, you know, people didn't want to talk with him, but I'd be willing to talk with whoever the administration would be if I would win. Because I think a highway would be a great idea, as I mentioned before, to create expansion with American corporations, American companies, and create jobs. We can only imagine the additional trillions of miles that would be consumed with vehicles, automobiles, trucks. We can only imagine, and that's why I'm laying it out tonight. That's my immigration vision. So instead of kicking people out, I would first secure the border immediately, and then the people that are here, they would have to turn themselves in to the Social Security Administration to rectify their permits. And I think it would be important for Congress to pass that into law, to have a permit program so everyone's here legally, we know who they are. secure the border, and then I can talk to all the other Latin American countries to keep the people in their nations, and then we'll reach out to all the people we need via the consulates of their nations, and then we can have a program where they affiliate themselves to work, and then they're called when they're needed, and then have a system to get them here. And with the Pan American Highway, that would be a great implementation to have. Another job creation that I want to throw in this video is going back to what I had talked in the previous videos about litter control, cleaning up litter across America. And I told you guys that I also wanted America to become a leader in litter control, really in America and all around the world. And if we think about all the plastics there are, I talked a lot about recycling plastic, metals, aluminum, copper, all that stuff. Have it all itemized and sorted. But then there's something that's new in the horizon, and it's converting plastic back to its form of gasoline and diesel. And I think that's another really good prospect, because with all the labor that we can achieve, we can actually resurface old landfills and take out the plastics and then fuse them down back to fuel. Not to mention all the trash and plastics all around the world that we can gather and bring it back to its form of gasoline. So I'm just laying that out so we can get an understanding of all the plastic we're dealing with that's in our water, in the ocean, in the rivers, in the streams, in the ponds. So I think it's important to, that's another way to look at that, of how to tackle all these problems. Imagine we can make a lot of fuel out of that every year, and we can start expanding that sector, creating more jobs. So we're converting our way of life as we know it right now, which seems to be a bit dysfunctional. And then we're converting it to make it lawful, where everything's lawful, where people come here legally. Can you imagine how they're going to feel being here legally with a working permit? They're not hiding from the law. They get to work every week, pay their taxes while they're here, and they get to join the society and do their part, and that way they can help their families back home where they're at. And then that interaction of sending the money back to their homeland will assist those economies which are our partners of capitalism. And that's what I was trying to say before. We need to help all our partners, or else other countries are going to come and take them too. And then we're going to have an array of enemies everywhere. It's bad enough as it is, but with my ability to speak Spanish, I think I can do a lot of change in Latin America and try to regain allies and build up relationships. And even without my ability, I can build relationships with Russia, with China, to have relationships that are positive across the board. So everybody benefits. And maybe maybe those countries' attitudes will change with a leader that knows how to interact with them, so we can all get along, so we can all be neutral and not have the mind frame of warfare. And I'll be talking soon about my vision for the military and that sector. I'll definitely make a video on that topic soon. But I think I covered a lot of topics with this video, and the video is getting a little long at the moment. And but it was a lot that we covered here, and I hope that some of these ideas that you guys are enjoying them. So if I get people who are consistently watching me, I'm hoping that you guys subscribe to the channel and push your like button if you're enjoying these videos. And I'm also asking for you guys to help me out by sharing the videos with your friends and family to get the word out. Remember, guys, I'll be a write-in candidate. Keep that in mind. My name's John Diaz, Johndiaz, John Diaz. I'm an independent candidate running for the presidency. Thanks, guys, for taking the time out of your day to watch this video. I appreciate it very much. I hope you enjoyed it. Thanks, and have a great rest of your day. God bless you all, and God bless our nation. Bye-bye.